What's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Triple Z Podcast. I'm your host, Isaiah Henry. The Western Conference playing situation has been one of the most interesting topics this season. Teams like the Phoenix Suns, the Kings, the Dallas Mavericks, the Los Angeles Lakers, and the Golden State Warriors are teams that constantly fluctuate between the 6th and the 10th seed in the Western standings. When we look at a team like the Phoenix Suns, injuries have been the main area of concern for them. Bradley Beal's missed 29 games, Booker's missed 14. Kevin Durant's been the healthiest out of the trio, only missing 7 games. They do have a few things working in their favor. They're 8th in three-point percentage, shooting the ball at 37%. They're 10th in offensive rating, 13th in defensive rating. I think the addition of Royce O'Neal has helped them slightly on the defensive side of the basketball. Kevin Durant's averaging 1.3 blocks per game, and Nurkic is 10th in defensive rebounding. If the Suns were to finish as a top 6 seed in the Western Conference, meaning they avoid the play-in, I still believe that their health and bench will still cause them problems come playoff time. As we know, the Suns went all out in the offseason to acquire Bradley Beal, meaning they left their bench very vulnerable. They have one of the worst scoring benches in the entire league, meaning that Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal have to do a lot more offensively to hold the entire Suns roster above water. Health has not been their strong suit as well. Bradley Beal's missed the most time out of the Suns roster. He's been out with a back injury, a hamstring injury, a rolled ankle, and he's dealt with a fractured nose as well. Come playoff time, if the Suns are missing any one of their big three, their playoff chances becomes very slim because it will look a lot similar to how it did last postseason, where they had two great offensive players playing heavy and extended minutes come playoff time, going against a top seed and couldn't get the job done. Even if the Suns do have their big three in Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal, I'm a firm believer that your bench and your role players win you a few games in a playoff series come playoff time, and that's something the Suns lack tremendously. The Sacramento Kings had two All-Star snubs in Domantas Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox, who are both having phenomenal seasons. Malik Monk is the front runner for Sixth Man of the Year. The Kings' season has been a little bit of a roller coaster ride, especially when you look at their wins and losses. They've beaten teams like the Denver Nuggets, the Timberwolves, the Clippers, but then lose to teams like the Bulls, the Rockets, and the Pistons. They've blown a couple 20-point leads throughout the season against the Suns and the Bulls. Last season, at 66 games, they were 40-26 and finished as a top 3 seed in the Western Conference. This season, after 66 games, they're 38-28, and they are currently the 7th seed. And that just shows you how crazy and competitive the Western Conference has been throughout the entire season. The Dallas Mavericks made some moves at the trading deadline to improve their front court with PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford. Defense has pretty much been a no-show for them all season. They're 8th in most opponent points allowed per game at 116, and they're 24th in defensive rating. Now, Luka's having a phenomenal season, averaging 34 points, 9 rebounds, and 9 assists, 1.5 steals per game, 49% from the field, 38% from 3. His season's kind of reminded me of Russell Westbrook's MVP season in 2017, having a phenomenal season, but his team is in the middle of the pack. Right now, the Mavericks are the 8th seed, and Luka's putting up crazy numbers and is a top 5 candidate for MVP. So that's pretty much what the Mavericks situation is pretty much all season. The Lakers, if I were to tell you coming into the season that LeBron and AD were going to be healthy for majority of the season, LeBron in year 21 is looking absolutely phenomenal, averaging 25 points, 7 rebounds, 8 assists, shooting great from the field, having one of his best shooting percentages from 3 at 40%. Anthony Davis is playing at an all-NBA level, looking like he's going to make an all-defensive team as well. You would think that the Lakers would be a top 5 or 6 seed in the Western Conference. That has not been the case at all. Didn't make any moves at the trading deadline. There's been, constant back and forth with Darvin Ham's coaching and his rotation. They're dealing with some injuries still with Jared Vanderbilt. Gabe Vincent hasn't played a lick of basketball. I feel like he's robbing the Lakers. And Los Angeles has been back and forth between the 9th and the 10th seed with Golden State. And when we look at Golden State as well, Draymond's been suspended for 12 games. During that stretch, they went 7-5 without him. When Draymond's on the court, they're 24-17 with him playing basketball. They dealt with some injuries as well. Chris Paul was out with a fractured hand. Steph Curry was out recently, a couple of games with an ankle injury. They've made some adjustments. Klay Thompson is coming off the bench. They're 7-3 when Klay comes off the bench, so that seems like it's working for them pretty well. Pajinski and Kuminga are playing some great basketball in the starting lineup. And we're seeing some adversity with this Warriors team. I mean, they've lost by 52 points against the Boston Celtics, and then the very next night they won by 35 points against a really great team in the Milwaukee Bucks. And it's just crazy to think that we could potentially get some crazy matchups between, the Mavericks and the Suns, who I personally believe can be a legit rivalry come playoff time. I would love to see another matchup between LeBron and Steph Curry in the play-in as well. And these are not your typical 7th and 8th seeds, because if you're a top 3 seed in the Western Conference like the Denver Nuggets, the OKC Thunder, and the Timberwolves, I don't want to really see, LeBron and AD in the first round. I don't want to see Steph and that crew in the first round, or Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and Devin Booker and that offensive juggernaut in the first round. So I think the playoffs can be very interesting with, some strong top seeded Western Conference teams and these lower 7th and 8th seeds. So let me know down in the comment section who you think will finish as the 7th or 8th seed. Can one of these lower seeds potentially upset a higher seed in the playoffs? You guys for listening to the Triple Z podcast. Please like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. Zzz.